Let me ask you something. You earn a decent income, not rich, not struggling. You pay your bills on time. You don't buy Ferraris. You're not out here making stupid financial decisions. And yet, at the end of every month, you look at your bank account and think, where did my money actually go? Because somehow, despite raises, promotions, maybe even switching jobs for higher pay, you're still living paycheck to paycheck. Your savings feel painfully slow. Investing feels not yet, and financial freedom feels far away. And here's the frustrating part. You're doing what you were told was responsible. So today I want to talk about the 5 invisible expenses quietly keeping the middle class broke. Expenses you probably don't even realize are draining your future. And fair warning, some of these are going to make you uncomfortable. My name is Robert, and I spend way too much time thinking about building long-term wealth. If you're someone who's starting their financial journey, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Now look, this isn't about shaming anyone. This is about understanding why smart, hardworking people stay stuck financially, even when they're doing everything right. Because here's the thing, most financial advice focuses on visible expenses, rent, groceries, car payments. But the real damage, that comes from expenses you don't feel. And this is where it gets really interesting. Invisible expense number 1, lifestyle drift, the raise you never got. Let's start with the most common one. You get a raise. Maybe it's 10%. You feel good for about 2 weeks. And then slowly, very slowly, your life adjusts. A slightly nicer apartment, more Uber Eats, a better phone, a few more subscriptions, more convenience spending. Nothing crazy, but here's what most people don't realize. According to data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, household spending tends to increase almost in direct proportion to income growth. In other words, most people spend their raises without noticing. Let me show you the math. Say you earn $60,000 a year. You get a 10% raise. That's $6,000. After taxes, maybe you see $4,000 extra per year. That's about $333 per month. Now imagine instead of investing that $333, it disappears into lifestyle upgrades. If you invested that $333 monthly at a modest 7% annual return, over 30 years, that's roughly $380,000 gone. Not because you were reckless, but because your lifestyle quietly expanded. This isn't a math problem, it's a psychology problem. Humans adapt incredibly fast to improve conditions. What felt like a luxury becomes the new normal, and once something becomes normal, it doesn't feel like spending anymore. It feels like necessary. When your income increases, automate investments before you upgrade anything. If you never see the money, you won't miss it. Invisible expense number 2, convenience tax, paying to avoid minor discomfort. Look, I get it. You're tired, you're busy, life is stressful, so you outsource discomfort. Food delivery instead of cooking, ride shares instead of public transit, same-day shipping instead of planning ahead. Individually, these don't seem expensive, but together, they're brutal. According to a study by McKinsey, households now spend 30 to 40% more on convenience services than they did just 10 years ago. Let's break this down. $20 extra per food delivery, 3 times per week equals $60. That's $240 per month, $2,880 per year. Invested over 25 years at 7%. That's over $180,000. For food you barely remember eating. Here's the psychological trap. Convenient spending feels small in the moment, but massive over time. Your brain prioritizes immediate comfort over future benefit, even when the future benefit is objectively larger, and no one tells you this. This is like drilling tiny holes in the bottom of your financial boat. Each one seems harmless, but eventually, you sink. Choose one category where you intentionally reduce convenience, not everything, just one. Money improves when decisions are sustainable, not extreme. Invisible expense number 3, the safe money myth, opportunity cost. This one is subtle and very expensive. A lot of middle-class people think they're being responsible by keeping cash in savings, avoiding risky investments, waiting until they feel ready. Sounds smart, but here's what most people don't realize. Inflation is an invisible tax. Historically, inflation averages around 3% per year. If your money earns 1% in a savings account, you're losing 2% in real purchasing power annually. Let's say you keep $20,000 in cash just in case. Over 20 years, that money loses roughly 33% of its buying power, and that's if inflation behaves nicely. Now you might be thinking, but investing is risky. Yes, but not investing is also risky. The difference is one risk is visible, the other is silent. Humans feel losses twice as strongly as gains, so we avoid short-term volatility. Even if it guarantees long-term loss, separate money into buckets. Emergency fund, cash. Short-term goals, long-term investments. Each bucket has a job. Confusing them is expensive. Invisible expense number 4, social comparison spending. This one might sting a little. You don't buy things because you want them. You buy them because everyone around you has them. Better car, better vacations, better lifestyle. And here's the messed up part. You're often comparing yourself to people who are in debt, financially stressed, or earning more than you. But your brain doesn't care. It just wants to belong. According to a Federal Reserve study, nearly 40% of Americans earning over $100,000 still live paycheck to paycheck. Why? Because spending rises to match social expectations. This is called relative deprivation. You feel poor, not because you are, but because someone else appears richer. I've seen people earning half the income of their peers quietly build wealth, and I've seen high earners stay broke forever. The difference? One group optimized for status, the other optimized for freedom. Stop benchmarking your life against other people's lifestyles. Start benchmarking against your future self. Invisible expense. Number 5, delayed financial decisions, the cost of later. This is the most dangerous one. I'll start investing later. I'll learn about money later. I'll optimize once things settle down. Later is expensive, very expensive. Let's do simple math. If you invest $500 per month starting at age 25 at 7% by 65, you have about $1.2 million if you start at 35. Same amount, same return. You end up with about $560,000. You didn't lose money, you lost time, and time is the most valuable asset you have. Your brain discounts the future heavily, but wealth is built almost entirely in the future. Start imperfectly. Automation beats optimization. Here's what most people don't realize. Middle-class financial struggle isn't caused by big mistakes. It's caused by small, invisible ones repeated for decades. Lifestyle drift, convenient spending, opportunity cost, social comparison, delayed action. None of these feel dangerous. That's why they work so well. Look, you don't need a higher income to escape this trap. You need awareness. Once you see these invisible expenses, you can't unsee them. And that's powerful, because wealth isn't about being perfect. It's about removing friction between you and better decisions. If this video helped you see your money differently, hit the like button. It tells the algorithm this content actually matters. Subscribe if you want more practical, no-nonsense breakdowns of money, psychology, and long-term wealth building. And remember, you're not bad with money. You were just never taught how these invisible forces work. Now you are.